Welcome, friends. Just getting ready the Emuna class for today. Make sure it's all set up the best way. There we go. Please share on. Appreciate you being here. Okay, let's begin on our networks. Welcome to Emuna is our future. Welcome to Emuna is our with renewed confidence. That is the Emuna is our future, renewed confidence. Happy to hear that it's come up live on all our networks, Facebook and YouTube, and our podcast, Emuna is our future, Breslev Israel podcast. We're excited. Another week. Thank God. We don't take it for granted. Every week of life is a gift. Say thank you, Hashem. We thank you, Hashem, for all the wonderful people out there who are joining us online. And you're welcome to give feedback, to comment. It's a live feed. And if we don't get to the answers or questions or commentaries or feedback right now, we thank God you can email us or you can partner with us. You can do all the kind of good things that we do online. And hopefully we get back to you. We do try. That's with a lot of divine help. So we welcome you today. It's Parshas Lech Lecha this week. It's a big light, a new light enters the world of Avraham Avinu, our forefather Avraham, and our Holy Mother Sarah Emuna, our foremother, or however you want it. If anyone wants to help me with any ways of describing things in a better way, I'm always happy to hear. But Sarah Emuna and Avraham Avinu are a great partnership. They are the dogma, the example of what marriage and devotion, dedication to soulmates, and to be able to understand what's happening right now in this time, spiritually, historically, and how to strengthen our Emuna. As I wrote in the description below, I'm just taking a look myself, that as we enter this week, we're getting the needed strength of confidence. So we can do this. Yeah. We've got to be able to do what we're here for, our special mission. And I want to say Shalom to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, and unfortunately I have not been there. But once again, this is the blessing of doing the online feed and flow, that we get to join together wherever you are. And it sort of bridges those gaps in a global, universal way. So let's see what else. So I was learning with my son this Shabbat in Likutei Halachos from Rabbi Nachman ben Fega, Rabbi Nachman ben Simcha, Zichus Yagen Aleinu. And I was learning there with my son. He asked for it. He asked to learn. And what did we see there by Hilchos Chanukah in that section of the joining together all the different laws that Rabbi Natan was able to explain in Rabbi Nachman's writings, Lefi, the Niglas HaTorah, Shulchan Aruch. Explain this one day a bit more detail what the Likutei Halachot is, and such a beautiful book that you guys have the ability now with translations into English, hopefully, to access. So over there says Rabbi Nachman, based on Rabbi Nosson, who was explaining this, that we have the power to renew, and not only that, to get rid of all the imaginary obstacles. Because around us right now we're in the Corona challenge, and there's a lot of obstacles surrounding people on daily level. Right now, in the next few weeks, we're going to be hearing about the election in America and all these things that will come with that. In the end, it's all somewhat imaginary obstacles to our ability to become more close to Hashem, to have more fulfillment, to live a life that has more joy. And it's the same with family and friends, how we deal with things. You know, I just came out from being with my family. There was a lot of them at home. Even my son who could go is not feeling well. So, Baruch Hashem, I don't think it's Corona, but still just going through these obstacles, and you start to get a bit tense when you realize what's coming up ahead, and you know how it goes online, and we want to accomplish stuff. So we got to get that renewed confidence. We got to strengthen ourselves, even though sometimes it feels overwhelming with all the stuff going on around us in the world. Like right now, my wife is just shopping in Jerusalem, and there's still that feeling of lockdown and rules and police and all that kind of obstacle to joy. Like you go to a shop and they're like checking the numbers, and even those few shops that are open and everything's very controlled, and people walking around checking are very scary looking, and it's not like the fun good old days as we were joking around BC before Corona, and then AC after Corona, if there ever be, or DC during Corona. We made a joke with a special guy in our life, his name's Ahmed. But the idea, the concept of right now, while we're still dealing with this challenge, and there still is, thank God, an ability to share Emuna together, and you guys have the power right now. All of you watching, I see you coming on. Thank God, you have the ability to share these posts and get it out there, so that it's not just a few of us, but there's hundreds, maybe thousands of people like we've had on the viewage. We want people to experience what it means to get into the light of Avraham Avinu, as we mentioned at the beginning of the class. This big light of Sarah of this Emuna, this big intense light of Emuna that enters the world with them entering into the Torah, entering into the Kriya, how we read it in this week's Parsha, Lech Lecha, and he's giving us a big renewal and strength, what it means to go for yourself, to be able to have success in everything you're doing, to have success in your money things, to have success in your pleasure. This is what Rashi says, to have success in enjoying life, and to have goodness, to have only thing tovcha, to only things that are good for you. So this is the kind of energy that Avraham Avinu gets blessed with from Hashem Yisbarach, from the creator of the world. And that's the kind of energy that we can draw ourselves into as we're going into this Parsha and this time period of Cheshvan, the month we're in. We get a lot of light of Avraham Avinu, this whole Chodesh, this whole month. And there's tremendous chizuk, tremendous renewal, tremendous confidence boost that we can do it. Because Avraham Avinu had to face 10 tests. And he was pretty much by himself, other than with his wife. And together they were able to overcome. And he did have a special servant named, a good name, Eliezer, happens to be a good name, Laser G, that's where it comes from. But the idea that that power, that energy of renewal and Emuna and ability to do our mission in the world is in these Parshias, in these holy readings that we have on a weekly level and on Shabbat. So we spoke about last week's Shabbat, Noach. Parshas Noach, we spoke about disconnect, reconnect, and we mentioned the Shabbos project and how we're trying to make it global and our Emuna classes. And then we have the opportunity, once we go same in a teva, we go out from the tevas of Noah, out from Shabbos, and we're sitting here. Now that's Avraham Avinu. He's not sitting, he's running, he's lechach, he's going, he's doing, he's holech. This is the idea of a tzaddik. He's constantly going up. He feels the responsibility on his shoulders, like Rav Shalom Arush demonstrates, our host. And so you're going to ask me, why aren't we in the studio? So that's one of our challenges, the Corona challenge, because the studio has Corona, which Baruch Hashem, I actually didn't see him when he caught it. So thank God I don't have it. But I feel very bad. That's why we went in the studio last week and this week. That's not the studio guy that we do the Rav Arush classes. That guy, thank God, is healthy and well. I'm just talking about for my personal class and one or two others. So that person won't be around till the end of the week, or maybe next week, once he's out of his quarantine and over Corona. Please God to have full name. Like everyone, we wish to have a full recovery from this challenge. And hopefully we're feeling right now that we're at the end part of this. This is no longer like gonna like keep coming to us all the time and making life difficult, but we're actually going to get over this, and things are going to open up and things are going to be positive. Someone just reached out on the Facebook and we'll try to answer people live. Oh, I find my visiting my parents. Okay, look, please God, like finding a soulmate is a very, very big, opportunity, and can be an obstacle to joy while you're not finding it seemingly. But the truth is that the whole process of finding a soulmate is your whole life, because as Rabbi we once explained on a deep level that we're all working on finding our soulmate on a daily level from the time we're born till the time we leave this world, because that's our other half. And that constantly, even if you're married, and I'm blessed to say she's in the other room, but I have to constantly find my soulmate in how I serve Hashem and how much Ratzon Hashem, how much I'm tuned in, as Rabbi Nachman explains, into doing the right thing. And that will constantly find my soulmate on a daily level, that we'll be able to bond together and not be apart from all the struggles of life. Because you can live with someone in a house, you can share the same beds or whatever it is, the situations you have together, same bank account, whatever it is. Officially you're married, but if you're not really working on it on a daily level, we have, thank God, the Gedalia Fenster classes, and those classes, thank God, give a lot of inspiration and helping people. We recommend anyone who's looking for a soulmate to go to those classes on our Breslev English YouTube channel. We put them there in our podcast, Breslev Israel podcast, Breslev English, and you can go there and see how Gedalia discusses. And really, it's the whole concept is that we have to keep working and growing and keep developing ourselves, because it's a lifetime. It's not just something, once you get this person physically, that's it. It's just beginning to get intense. But the process, the leading up to find a soulmate, is even before, and that all that preparation you make right now, this moment. And that's really one of the keys to our life, to renew our confidence, is to live in the moment now, to not know what's going to be in the future. Like, there's pressure on right now. We didn't have the Emuna tour. We'd be usually in Toronto and maybe on our way to Miami, Mexico already, and we're not there. So how do we do this? So we've already spoken many times about doing it online. So there's a pressure to, like, for the institutes in Jerusalem to have the resources to go ahead, and they don't have the previous stories of just going to, thank God, to our kind communities in North America and Central America and South America, and in UK and South Africa and throughout Europe, and please God, the rest of the world as well, everywhere in Australia and all these places, India, all these people who tune into our classes, and other institutes that go to all these places online, and they have the opportunity, please go. Remember, we have Breslev Russian, we have it in Russia as well. The whole world has an opportunity to tune into these ideas, these concepts, these realities. But the reality right now is there's a little bit of a struggle. I can't be in the studio, so I'm sitting at home. As you can see, I've got my heart, my love energy out there, because that's the kind of energy we want to have in our home. We want to create that feeling and atmosphere of positivity. Wow. So some people are really going through hard times, as they're posting here. And, I can empathize, and I feel, and that sounds really, really hard. Obviously, anything that's like really intense, like beyond just the teachings we're having here, like abuse and things like that, there is, thank God, nowadays there's hotlines for people who are in situations of abuse, and they should call those people and get professional help, like therapeutic, or there's certain, there's a community like in New York, in America, called Amudim. I think they also have in Israel. I visited the founder, Zvi Gluck. I visited him also. He has a center in Jerusalem as well, so there's also in Israel. So in those kind of places, if you have those kind of organizations, that would be who to reach out to. And I think Zvi is doing a great job. He has a lot of caseworkers, and that's what these hotlines and phone lines are for. We're not on that level in terms of taking up cases, but interesting that you mentioned we will be offering something soon. We're working on it. It's not yet, announced, but just to touch on it, that we're thinking about doing some sort of group meeting, Emuna meetings, with Arush's backing and of Dayan Elgrod's, responsible view on it. That he'll be the rabbi behind it, with Arush at the head, and we'll do some Emuna meetings together, potentially. My wife and I, for men and women, for women in Jerusalem. That would be not an online option. That would be an actual meeting up in person. But they were just putting it out there. Hasn't yet been released or organized completely. Other updates. It's good to know while we're here, before we get back into Avraham Avinu's special light. I mean, it's all part of that light of being confident and going ahead. Thank God we have some great guests coming up, please God, with our Emuna classes. This week we are going to take a week off because of the fact that Rabbi Arush and his family are making a wedding, Mazel Tov. So since they're busy with that, this week we're going to take a little break for 1 week in the Emuna weekly class with Rabbi Arush, and we're going to come back stronger. We're going to put out the links already from Liron Mazur. He's a very good friend of ours in South Africa, in Joburg, and please God, soon one day in Eretz Yisrael. We're going to have him give a course over called Soulful Money. And that you guys can tune in. It's going to be a 3-part course, beginning with gratitude, the importance of it. And we're going to talk about thank you Hashem with making a living. And also, we're going to talk about the third part is going to be the Garden of Riches, which is Rav Arush's book, Garden of Emuna series. And we always recommend you, going to our sites, breslev.co.il, and getting those books and all the different opportunities we have on our website. Thank God we're putting out a lot more Emuna articles right now on our general social media platforms, even though generally every week on the website they're there, but we try now pushing them a little bit more. So you guys, we have the WhatsApp group, and we have the Instagram, has reached 3,000 followers. Very excited about that. I actually helped begin that Instagram account not so long ago, and it's already grown to 3,000 without too much, promoting or boosting or any of the financial side. It's just from people naturally, and I don't know whether there's a word. Nowadays, everything has technical words. People like to use the word pivot a lot right now. And with Instagram, we've had a lot of natural, what's the word? Come on, guys, give me these words, these flows. I don't know. Whatever, it's been organic. There we go. It came to my mind. The organic traffic that came to our Breslev English Instagram, thank God. And it's growing, and it's thanks to you guys for sharing. We have also the Twitter accounts growing, and we're, thank God, putting out all the great links, and thank God sharing in the Twitter world, Twitter madness. And yeah, there's just a lot doing. You know, we're trying to still keep the TikTok moving, and you know, I don't know what's going to be with that whole story. You know, seems like a bit of a crazy app, and it's unfortunately its influence is growing, so we have to be there for some reason. But we're going to do like Avraham Avinu. This is the point. That we have the power, as I said, Avraham Avinu and his soulmate Sarah have the ability to strengthen us in our mission. That we don't have to feel weakened for a moment, that we can't do what we're here for. So all of you guys, like, don't just come in and come out, like, stick around, comment, let's make this energy, let's make a group feeling. This is once a week. We're not asking for hours and hours of time, not one of these long speakers. And I mentioned before how Noach, it says there, same in the table, went out from the table. What does that mean? So a beautiful concept of Biederman. That when not only do we have to pray, as we spoke about last week, from the teva, so tefillah, from the word, teva and word is the same word, he had the idea that all the prayer words, you enter into this world of tefillah, not only do you have to pray, as Rabbi Arush talks about, but you have to go same in the teva, to go out from the words. What's that? Personal prayer. And that's the other good news. We have David Weinberg, where David Weinberg is going to be joining us on the 17th of November, which is Rosh Chodesh Kislev, which will be the new time period we're entering into the month leading up to Hanukkah. And thank God, personally, I have a lot of simchas then, so I'll do my best to keep up. Please God, all the classes, and you guys would join us. So David Weinberg is going to talk about personal prayer. That's the book that he's put out. We've just posted a little bit, a glimpse of it on our Breslev English Facebook page, but we're going to get out his and promote his beautiful music and teachings as another person who's into Hisbodedus, into Rav Arush's teachings, and together we'll have an Emuna class together, please God. Let's say what else is doing. Oh, we mentioned Subliminal, so I need to still reach out to him. I've been holding back because I just want to make sure that everything technically is smooth, and now with the Corona story that we're not going to have obstacles for him coming, and we don't want to invite him and then not, and then this. So everything, once again, like we speak about Emuna, is unknown. Like, you know, for example, Listen Black, hopefully we'll do a Hanukkah tour. Exactly how, right now, all I've seen is the online stuff. But, you know, we don't know, like, it could be like all kinds of stuff, you know, hopefully maybe even make it to America. I'm waiting to hear myself. But it's the constant reality. We don't know what's going to be. Like, for my simchas, please God, in Kislev, I don't know if anyone from outside Israel will be there, which is very sad. But we do have Zoom, and we have online resources, and that's another important announcement. The Rabbi asked me this week, yesterday, we had a meeting. She wants you guys, and has a community, and wants to meet with Rabbi Shalom Arush. We're going to post it on our sites. You can set up a meeting with Rabbi Arush online to speak to him either through WhatsApp or Zoom, and we'll try and make that time as efficient as possible. You know, 15 minutes, half an hour. Someone recently hit me up for 10 minutes after our Emuna class, because I'll be there myself to help make sure it happens. Try to get someone to translate, if not Rabbi Elgrod, somebody else. But the concept is we have the time and the ability to set up meetings. Arush wants to share Emuna, and everyone out there, all the different communities that have hosted us in the past can be part of this as well. We've reached out to the Toronto community. They're interested in hosting us, as you mentioned, the end of November. And we, please God, we have the Lighthouse Project in Gedalia and in Miami, so we can talk to people there for Shirim classes. We've got the Mexico City community. We've got, please God, New York, Chazak, and other such organizations, thank you Hashem, where we can arrange some sort of online event just for your community, and at the same time have meetings just for your community people, and at the same time put up online classes in your merit, dedicate every week for the Emuna class. After this, we'll be going hopefully week by week, and you can be one of the partners and sponsors, and we need that opportunity. And I always put below how to sponsor, how to get a blessing from the Rav, and the PayPal link is there, secure. You guys can join in and partner financially, emotionally, physically, share online. And that's part of the light of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu's light was kindness, was mogain, it was a shield. So the Vilna Gaon says, what's going to be the protection, the shield, this light that surrounds us through our positive way of thinking, the Jewish people in the world, the way we think about life. Please God, we should think with more positivity, have more Emuna, more bitachon, as it says in the Ben Ish Chai. The bitachon, as Rabbi brings down, is the idea of Tuv Chain. So we should have that Chain that Noah had, and that Chain that all the Tzdikim had, that idea, that Chain comes together with how we trust. We trust in God. As even Trump pointed out, not getting political, he did say, it's the boss. So we do have to get that inspiration from, David's just sending me some links right now as we speak to share for the up and coming class, because we're very excited to have that happen in a few weeks. All very big opportunities that we have the power that through an online community to do something that was never done before, except from the time from Avraham when he had the Or Shel Avraham, the Or Shel Mashiach, that light that he brought the name Hashem, he called it out and he shared it. So what does it mean to be same in a table? We spoke about going into personal tefillah and then going into the world. That was Avraham point. He had all those tests and his life was lined up to go into life, into real life things, like moving to Israel, making Aliyah and his way, Lech Lecha, Ma'atzah, and all the different things he had to go from the place he was born, to go out from his land and go move to Eretz Israel, and Hashem himself promised. Fine, so we don't see that, hear that voice seemingly, but it is, the voice comes out in other ways through organizations. They can speak to us and say, don't worry, you come to Eretz Israel, there'll be everything you need for those who want to move to Eretz Israel, or the light of Eretz Israel, the teachings, the wisdom of Eretz Israel. And it says beautifully to know that there's a midrash that says when Mashiach comes, the light of Emuna and Eretz Israel will spread out in the whole world. So the whole world will have the holiness of Eretz Israel, just like an eye. The eye will mispashet. There won't be just like broken up continents. Everything will unify. All the continents of the world, all the nations of the world, everything will become unified. United Souls. That's my whole book, my whole mission statement. Personally, I'm putting out an album, United Souls, and I'm, please God, writing every day another page about this concept of unifying the world to this ultimate place. So the light and the wisdom and holiness and spirituality will unify throughout the whole world. And that, if you look at the 7 continents, they all are like puzzle pieces. They all map together. I remember thinking this even as a kid in geography and a completely secular school. I had such a thought. It looks like it all joined together. It's like a puzzle piece. So that will form like this glow eye of oneness. And then the center of the eye, like the black part, our pupil, is the Kedushas Yerushalayim. That's going to be intensified and it will expand to the whole of Eretz Yisrael. So the whole of Eretz Yisrael will be like, will have the intensity of Jerusalem, of Yerushalayim. And that will centralize everything into one place, into this idea of having a temple in the center of the world, this place, this Dira Tachtona. But really the concept is everyone will unify within their own eye, within their own self, in their own heart and mind, will have the ability to become more unified themselves. And that's these kind of messianic realities that we're very close to, is the kind of thoughts that gives us a different perspective of how to live now. That we can live with a more unified perspective, and that light of Avraham of bringing everyone together, to welcome everybody into your home, and to inspire and to bring that mogen, that shield, that light into everyone's life. And that's why we end off the first blessing, as Avon said, of mogen Avraham Shmona Esrei. Shmona Esrei, we end off mogen Avraham. So mogen Avraham, if the shield of Avraham is the climax, this first blessing, which is the most important blessing, the one we have to have most intention for, is Mogen Avraham, is that the fact that it's a very deep concept, but the shield of Avraham, this light of kindness, because Avraham Avinu is his midah, his attribute, Sarmenia was kindness. They were a team, obviously, they did it together. When that light of kindness went out into the world, and every day when we're praying 3 times a day, and sometimes 4, Rosh Chodesh, and then sometimes 5 when it's Yom Tov, and 6 when it's Yom Kippur, and 7 times on when it's Rosh Hashanah, we have this Shmona Esrei, this ability to say Mogen Avraham again and again. This concept that Avraham Avinu's light is going to be the light of the Chosim, it's the seal of exile, because it brings everything together through this shield of positivity, of light, of awe, of good, and that gives us trust that we're constantly protected. So you'll say, someone's saying here, like, but life's hard, and there's all kinds of struggles, and we have so much, and that's what we spoke about, all the imaginative things, and they don't seem so imaginative. For example, say someone has a back pain. I've had back pains, and you start taking painkillers, or you go to start, God forbid, start going to doctors having operations because they see this and they see that and this and that. I'm not saying it's not there and it's not a real need, but then comes along a clever doctor called John Sarno, and you can read his book over there on back pain and healing back pain, all that kind of stuff. And he says it's psychosomatic, and he says it's not something which really actually exists. It's actually an emotional thing. It's all the rage inside of a person. You read his book, and don't have to rely on me. But the concept that there are again and again discovering how a lot of the pains, a lot of the struggles that we're going through that seem so profound and overwhelming, often if you can just work on your inner self, on your inner realities, it doesn't always work. Like we said, sometimes you need professional help, you need actual doctors, you need real physical solutions. But on a majority of them, you'd be surprised, you have the power within to actually get rid of a lot of the obstacles in your life. For example, like if you're having struggles right now economically, so we're going to talk about it in the next few weeks, and I definitely need some inspiration on this. With Soulful Money, we're going to go into this idea with Liron Mazur's course and Rav Shalom Arush's teachings of Garden of Riches. And we're going to get hopefully that encouragement, that bitachon, that trust, that we can feel that we're protected in life. And even if the news constantly says, but you're not, there's this coronavirus, God forbid, and there's all this chaos and economic downturn and blah, blah, blah. And you say, well, I don't even have a job. But, in the end, if you need to eat food, I believe there will be food, like for everyone. Hazan es hakol, we say in Birkas Hamazon. That's the first blessing that's also connected to Aaron Venus alike. Hazan es hakol, Hashem is feeding and nourishing the whole world constantly, tamid. And that's the truth of reality in this world. So we're going to go on a little bit longer than normal, just because I feel like it, but also because I think that right now the world, there's a lot of time. Hopefully, if you're not hustling, maybe some of the hustle, maybe you don't need to do it as much as you think you do. But the concept of people like right now feel more pressure because it's been a while now with this whole lockdown experience, and the world is pressured up. So we could say, like, I don't have time to learn, but when we do get time to learn, let's make it worthwhile and talk about things that are very practical and real. That's part of everything I'm hoping that the Emuna class, like last week we had Yosef Danil with the guitar and the singing, the energy and the upliftment, and the words from Rav Arush is very real, and you really feel like the encouragement and the practical development and the need to have things like music is so important. It lifts up our spirits to find as many tools in your life that can get you into a good state, like these nice pictures behind me, or a nice smile to a loved one, or even to someone you don't know. Smile to someone to give that encouragement. Hey, I have a mask on. Okay, so then you smile with your eyes, or you smile with the words you say, or you smile with your energy, with your presence. And it's something which I know I need to work on. Like I come in the house and I have to work on coming in with a song, with joy, and I have to give that over to my family. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking, like self-work I need to do. I'm not there yet. And that's why when we sit together, hopefully in the group aspect, we get a more inspired experience. That's why we hope with these Emuna meetings we're going to have in Jerusalem, we're going to have opportunity by sitting together. We're not all coming like I'm above you or you're above me. We're all going to come together and actually inspire each other through talking out, through communicating, as we spoke many times with Dabebo, the power to speak in Emuna and speak out things, to be real, creates a tremendous growth in a person. They have, like that shield of Avraham is also about being inclusive and joining people together to communicate, to have that Emuna conversation on daily level and not just leave it for intellectual people or whatever, but it's for everybody. It's actual universal reality. Because without Emuna, without some sort of belief system, just go on the podcast, you have this like Matthew guy who was just on Lewis Housen and Joe Rogan, and he was on Rich Roll and the Matthew McConaughey, I think his name is. Anyway, he's a famous actor, always walking around like with his top off, like a looking guy. So that guy, I forget his full name, but Matthew McConaughey or something like that. Anyway, he's on a lot of podcasts with him, but what was one of the interesting things? He has a wisdom, he has Emuna on his level. He has Emuna, and that allowed him to now go to his next stage because he was able to hold back from $1 million deals and have that time to develop himself for the sabbatical he took out from his Hollywood life and to become. And now, like we're sitting in Corona and he's coming out on all these podcasts, you see that he's a much more together person from resisting that pull out there and having some Emuna system. And you see this again and again. I mean, I don't know anything about this Kane West, but I don't, obviously, we don't believe in Yoshka, we don't JC, but the concept of, someone out there wants to be president and he believes that God's chosen him, like it's or leader of the world or whatever it is. You go look over there. But the concept that there's such people thinking and talking these ways is very much messianic. That the world is changing in its mindset. This more atheist, like not interested in spirituality mindset, just make money, like in the 80s, pure materialism that I remember growing up in. That kind of like mindset is just not. Nobody wants that anymore, almost. And if anyone is living that, they probably don't have such great family or whatever other things that are going on, and that hopefully that will influence that need for values and truth. That will influence how we live our life, how we make policies in the world. The politics will be influenced in a positive way. There's hope. Like there is hope. We have to hope that the world out there. But in the meanwhile, while we're working on ourselves and developing these concepts, we can be influential. We can be like an Avraham Avinu in our own way, and a Sarah Meinu, and we can be like Avraham our father and Sarah our mother. That we can share and do kindness and bring that feeling of warmth and trust and protection into our hearts and into our homes, and it can shine out, mogging up on that light around us. And the Bris Kodesh brings that we talk about this week is one of the next mitzvahs of the Torah. We had Puravu talking about being fruitful and multiply. We mentioned it in our relationship flow podcast, and being intimate life. But it also comes together with Bris Kodesh of having the holiness and Bris. Even though Avraham Avinu was a very kind man, but he was also a holy man. And he taught people not just about how to do kindness, but he also taught them about having Emuna in Hashem, and the awe of Hashem, the light of that creates the Arush, the light of having Emuna, and how that goes into everything you eat, everything you drink, your relationship with your loved ones. Everything should have a light to it, to have a spirituality to it. It's an elevation. And that's what I'm talking about. Please go to my United Souls book and everything we're doing over here. And I remind you all, since we don't have an Emuna class this Tuesday night, and it will be pushed off till next week with Laron, Mazur, and the Soulful Money class that we're going to begin, please God, I remind you all to join us anyway on all our classes. I'm going to be posting on our YouTube channel the DHC, Gedalia Fence, the weekly, we try to put something up, and all the concepts and Emuna that we put in different posts and imagery, and we're trying to be creative. And you guys are welcome to send us stuff. We have an artist, like I mentioned a few times. We repost that on our Instagram stories, and it goes out into Facebook stories. We put those creative art works and of sayings of holy people, and that's from someone nothing to do with our program, but they're sending us and they're inviting us to share it. We share it. Like I said, David Weinberg was sharing his book. Like we want to share other people's content as well. And we want to partner with you guys, that you should be able to host Arush into your homes. You should have a Zoom meeting. If you want to make a big dinner for all your family or friends and you want to have Arush to come into your house, you can arrange that with us. This is something which is an offer now. The Arush himself wants to be like Emuna, wants to go and share that light of Emuna to the world and call out the name of Hashem into the whole world. And we're happy to help you facilitate that. But it's up to you guys. I can't do it by myself. I can't bring this year Arush like I did the last 2 years into your communities physically and have you be able to come and make meetings with him. You guys have to make it happen online by reaching out and making that reality. And that is part of this special light of Cheshvan. That's why I was enjoyed the Emuna Tour 2018, 2019, and now 2020. And please go to 2021. We're heading to very soon. That these Emuna tours, what I loved about them was we were living the life of Avraham Avinu on those tours with the Rabbi and the Arush and myself and all the other people that were going out. We were like Avraham Avinu, and I felt that elevation during these parshas every time we read Lech Lecha, and next week Vayera, and the week after Chai Sarah. We have these special 3 parshas, and then after that we go into Yitzchak Avinu and Yaakov Avinu, and we get ready for Hanukkah, as we mentioned. So that's already a whole nother level. But right now, where we are right now, this is the kind of story that we're living in real time in 2020. We're overcoming all these obstacles, these imaginations of things blocking us to achieve in life, and we're breaking through like Avraham Avinu and like the light of Mashiach. We're breaking through all our things that are holding us back from doing what we're supposed to do, and we're coming closer to our Creator, and we're coming closer to our purpose in life. We're coming closer to fulfillment. We're coming closer to be a more happy person, to give off that happy energy. I know myself, I need to work on that. My wife next door can testify. I need to work on that, and that's something why once again we want to join together with you guys and talk about these kind of things as groups online and make it reality more and more and more. And you guys can share and make this world a world of Emuna. It's not just us. We're sitting in Yerushalayim, Baruch Hashem. We're surrounded by holy people and people who are serving Hashem. Even in the Corona challenge, it's still Baruch Hashem. There's a lot of holy, good things going on all around us. But we want this to mispashet, to spread out to the whole world. So that when I visit London in a few months, it will be a different kind of London. It will be a London with much more Emuna, much more positivity. It won't be a London of, God forbid, just sad stories all the time and all this, people very down. It will be people who are a little bit more upliftment and elevation. So when I see my family, they can also be elevated and inspired. And that's the hope of everybody. They should do that in their own sphere of influence, that we've mentioned many times. And I'm looking forward to our next week Emuna class. We can do this. Yes, that's what we said. We can do this together. It's united souls. We're not by ourselves. We're not alone. Nobody is alone. No one out there is alone. We're all one. We all have Hashem. Two, we all have each other. There's a world, a global movement of souls, of reality, of truth, of united souls, a unification, as we mentioned about the eye, and that ability to join together and become one is constantly available to us just by allowing and opening and removing the obstacles and the blocks to experience the oneness of creation and the oneness of Emuna. And I'm looking forward to see you again next week. Thanks again for listening. Share it with joy. Share the energy. Go and do what you have to do. As Lewis House has lived greatly. As Tom Billy says, be impactful. Whatever. Everyone's got their thing. You do it in your way. Thank you so much. Thank you. Keep sharing all these wonderful things. There we go.